Hey guys, today we're going to be having a look at the A2A Piper Cherokee 180 for Flight Simulator X. This is an add-on mod, this is a paid mod, but it is probably one of the best mods out there for FSX. Apologies for the poor frame rate, because FSX is such an old game now. I haven't properly optimised it for my Nvidia cards yet, but I'm still getting above 30. I easily should be getting 60, but it's not correctly optimised yet, so that's why. So we're going to be having a look around it, different features, talking about AccuSim, and then we're going to start it up, and then the video there, we're starting it up. I'm not going to take it off, I'm not very good, but yeah. So unlike any other Flight Simulator X mods, with the exception of the ones from A2A, this one uses something called AccuSim. Now, AccuSim is a very, very realistic technology in that the way A2A, the company who made the mod, have modelled this is that it sort of reacts to things that you do. So say if you set the fuel mixture too rich when you're idling or when you're taking off, it'll affect the way the plane behaves, so it'll affect, power output, it'll affect, the colour smoke coming out of the exhaust. It does all that different things live. It's not just, a fixed model where you set the mixture, set the throttle, away you go. It's all dependent on what you do. So it's very much like real life in the sense that, you can change how the plane reacts. It also comes with a set of, hotkey buttons which you can use to access the different menus on the plane. So let's take a look around the outside of the plane, first of all. As you can see, it's very, very highly detailed. I'm sorry, Barton is... the quality of this airplane is really bad. I have Orbex installed, so I don't know what the problem is. But yeah, the quality of this airplane is really, really detailed. Even down to the pilot in the cockpit. It looks very old-fashioned. It looks like a World War II pilot. But there you go. Very, very detailed, highly accurate model. Around the back. What does that thing say on the side? Amitville Flying Service, Zarnes Airport. That must be... well, Pipers are American, I know, but it's probably... they've modelled it on a plane of American Flying Club origin. Its number is N3572T. So yeah, very, very realistic and well done model there. So we go back into the inside of the plane, and this plane comes with a series of hotkeys which you can press to activate different menus. So hang on, let me open the door here because you see the inside steaming up. So press Shift and E. Open the main cabin door. It's steaming up a bit in here. Right. So if we press Shift and 2, Shift and 1 doesn't do anything. Shift and 2 bring up the pilot's notes. Now, the pilot's notes sort of give you an idea of sort of the goods practice for starting and taking off the aircraft. So, for example, it tells you the outside temperature, which is useful, how many primers pumps you need. So, at 15 degrees, I think it's 3 primes. It might even be 1, I'm not sure, but the priming of the engine is less depending on the temperature. Again, which is all due to AccuSim, very, very realistic technology, as I've said before. Power settings. So for the takeoff, you want to slowly advance to full throttle. Don't just press F4 and mash it all the way up. You got to use the lever accordingly. You got to lean on the ground to avoid fouling plugs. So when you're on the ground, when you're idling, set your mixture all the way in. No, set your mixture all the way out to lean. Well, not all the way out, a bit out. This stops the spark plugs fouling. It's when carbon becomes deposited on the components within the combustion chamber, so you get bits of carbon and other grit and stuff on the outside of the spark plug, and this can be very detrimental for the performance of the engine, because if the spark plug's not making good contact with the fuel, then there's going to be no spark or little spark, which means the engine's not going to run very well. So that's important. You need to check your oil temperature before the run up. Need to idle under 1000 RPM with cold engine. This is to avoid possible, because the oil, when it's cold, oil in engines in general is really thick, which means it's not got good lubricating properties. So that's why they say, when you start a car or a plane, don't rev it up really high, because you can damage the engine, because the oil's not got the correct lubricating properties. The stall speed is 57 miles an hour with the flaps down. The max flap extension speed is 115 miles an hour. Any more than this, and you're probably going to knacker the flaps. Max crosswind this thing can take is 17 knots, and the approach speed with the flaps up, so when you're coming into land and the final approach, is 85 miles an hour knots. I don't know why it's got knots on the end there, but whatever. Page 2. So this is all the things you need to do. The pilot's notes also include a checklist, so here we go. Upon entering the cabin, you've got to do all this, blah 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 blah, which I won't do. I won't do now. I'll do that later on. And just starting, this is what you need to do. Ground check, blah blah blah, and climb and cruise, what you need to do. Descent and landing. So it's all very, very helpful. Basically, tells you how to fly the plane without you actually flying the plane. If we close that and press Shift and 3, we get the controls window. Now, say if you don't particularly... I mean, I know my way around this cockpit because I've flown this plane many, many times. But say if you don't know your way around the cockpit, you can use this menu to help you guide yourself around the cockpit. So if you want to turn the fuel pump, click that, and the little yellow lever there flicks on and off. So you can use this to control anything about the plane without actually having to move knobs around and things. Turn on the master autopilot switch, turn on all the landing lights, beacons, strobes, turn on the battery, blah blah blah, all that. You can do cold and dark, which I've just clicked. So that means, you know, you get in the plane just as if it's been parked up for a couple of days. So that's what that is. I'll do that again. I'll demonstrate that feature off in a few moments. Not in a few moments, in a bit when we come to do the actual startup of the plane. Shift and 4 brings up the payload and fuel manager. So what you can do here, let's move this window over here. If we click passenger, it should add a passenger. I don't know why it hasn't. You can increase the weight of the pilot. I don't know why you can't have passengers. You should be able to. Oh, there we go. There you go. You choose their face from here. So if you want to add this guy and then select his weight, you can have up to 4 passengers in here. So if we say that and then her, so you can have up to 4 people in here. Of course, because this is A2A this will again increase the metric. This will again increase the effects of the plane, the way the plane moves, because obviously it's a lot heavier. If I just do this, if I just click empty on here, oh, there we go, just click that. You notice the way the suspension moves? It's not as heavy. You can change fuel in the fuel tank, so if I'll just fill this up completely. You can add baggage. If you want to add loads of baggage, then you can do that from here. And tells you the total amount of fuel, so I've got 189 litres of fuel, which is the most this thing can take, which weighs 136 kilos. Both wing tanks are full, and the oil isn't quite full. I'll top that up. So that's that. You can also, I forgot to mention, change the transparency of these windows, if you so wish. Shift and 5 is the GPS nav system, which shows up in the plane. Oh, it doesn't actually. This thing doesn't have a big nav system. Oh, okay. Oh, it's steaming up again. Let me open the door. It does. I need to turn the cockpit ventilation on. There we go. Oh god, it's lagging a bit here. Right. So if we press Shift and 6, this brings up the quick radios, so you can turn Com1 off, the navigation system off, or on Com2, Nav2, ADF, and XPDR. I'm not sure what ADF and XPDR are to. I don't tend to use those. I just tend to sort of, you know, take off and set radios and blah blah blah. Shifting 7. This is where it gets interesting. This is the maintenance hangar. So here we can perform maintenance pretty much on the plane. So you can see here in this little notebook, it tells you the airframe, PA-28-180, Piper 180 Cherokee C. It's got 3,745 airframe hours. The engine is a Lycoming 0360-0360. 180 horsepower at 2700 RPM. The prop is a sensor niche, I don't know. 76 EM AS5, a 60 fixed pitch aluminium prop. General condition, inspect engine, notes. So this is, in a way, it's sort of like a mechanic's garage. So you see notes, it says keep an eye on the battery, so the signs of corrosion, which can obviously affect starting amps, cranking amps, the ability to turn electrical systems on. Battery might not even work at all. Right brakes are worn, you may notice some pulling. we have some oil leaks, and careful with flaps and parts wearing out. So if you just click on them, you can repair them. So I'll repair the battery because that's going to be quite important. Brakes, oil, and the flaps we can repair. If we go on engine, so this is the overview of the engine here. So the vacuum pump, the only things that need fixing here are the mechanical fuel pump and the carburetor. So, and you can also change the spark plugs in the oil. So if we change the spark plug, say if we want massive or found wire spark plugs. So if we just stick with massive spark plugs, we can change the oil. So you can have proper aviation oil, you can have synthetic oil, and you can have an additive cam guard, which prevents the camshaft and stuff and cam belts from rusting and, you know, sort of wear and tear, which I will add because that's quite useful. Mechanical fuel pump we can fix from here, and we'll fix the carburetor. And now just to make sure everything is in good working order, we will do a compression test on the 4 cylinders. Yeah, that's about what they should be. Okay, they're on the green. That's good. Let's do it one more time. Okay, so all 4 cylinders are not suffering from a lack of compression. That's good. So now, core OK condition, and the compression test results here in PSI on the 4 cylinders. First time and second time round. Change the tyres, if you so wish, and you can also change the aerodynamics of the plane by adding things like the mains fairing, nose wheel fairing, all that stuff. You can change the propeller, and you can have a heater kit, which can be very useful if the engine is cold and you need to heat the engine before starting it. You can change the battery, so I don't know what the difference is. They're probably one's probably 24 volt, one's probably 12. I don't know. Who knows? But you can change the battery, change the tyres. So yeah, that's that done. Is that everything? Shifting 8? Oh no, hang on. There you go, shifting 8 is a pre-flight inspection. So it tells you what you need to search for when you do your pre-flight checks. I've never seen this menu before. This is actually quite good. So it tells you everything you need to do. So when you're in the cabin, release the belts on the yoke here to release the strap. So the master switch on, all that stuff. That's really cool actually. I've never seen this menu before. Okay. Alright, so it tells you everything you need to check for when you're starting up and taking off the plane. That's pretty cool. Pre-flight inspection. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start this thing up. So let's get up our pilot's notes. We can follow it. I know the starting up procedure, but it'd just be useful for you guys if I can sort of demonstrate what to do. So upon entering the cabin, we need to check the weight and balance, which we've already done. Close and secure the cabin door, which we'll do now. Control wheel lock remove. There we go. So we've tied the seat belts around the control lock. Controls free and correct. Yep, they're pretty free and correct to me. Let's put this back in there. Move this out again so I can see all the buttons behind here. Ignition and avionics are off. Master switch is on. Master switch is this button down here. This is the master switch, now on. And you see the time is 11:09, which is pretty much correct with what it is right now. Check fuel quantity. Oh, fuel quantity, I'm not sure where that is. I never normally check that. There we go. Fuel. Yeah, pretty much full fuel, we did that already. Fuel selector to the fullest tank. The fuel selector, as far as I'm aware, is here, isn't it? Or is it not at the side? Oh, it's here, here we go. Fuel selector to the fullest tank. It doesn't really matter, because they're both full, so I'll put it on the left tank for now. Flaps extend and retract. So F8, if I go here. Extend their flaps, and then retract them. There you go, you see the little lever moving there, that's quite cool. Let's do this again. Elevator trim set for takeoff. And the beacon on. I think the beacon already is on. I've already set the elevator trim. Did that before. The beacon. So the beacons are on. I'll turn that on. Remove the yoke for now. Now you get it back now. How does one get back the wheel. Never mind. Okay, so the wheel brakes are on. So parking brake. Fuel selector full is tank. Yeah. Master switch on. Electric fuel pump test. Should hear it. Right. So what we'll do is we'll do this. Where's the fuel pressure? There. So when we click this, we should see in this thing here, the middle dial. In these row of dials over on the right hand side, we should see that increase. Yeah, we do. Fuel pump is operational. Okay, that's good. Primer 1 to 3 strokes. I'm not sure what the primer is for 15 degrees. I'll give it 3 primes. Give it 1 and see if we can always do more. Just give it 1 because it's quite fairly warm outside. Cabin is cool and steady. Mixture is rich, so that's all the way in. Throttle is cracked, so about 1/4 inch, about there-ish. The area is clear. Yes, it is. Set the ignition, so the magnetos need to be set to both, which is here. And we'll engage the starter and see if we can get this thing up and running. So the starter, we just press, so turn the fuel pump on, I'll give it about 3 to 5 seconds. Right, should be fuel pressure in it. I'm going to start this thing up, and I'm going to try and move the throttle up as it goes. Here we go. Hello. Right, I found out what the problem was. Apparently there was a circuit breaker fuse that had popped, and that was preventing the starter from cranking the engine. But we're back, and we're going to give this thing a proper start up now. So just go over the process again. We've done all this. What we need to do now is set the mixture to rich, throttle cracked, magnetos both, fuel pump, and engine start. Come on. Let's give this a little bit longer. It's not liking this. Come on. Let's give it a couple of primes. Prime it 5 times. You know, it says 3, but we'll do it 5. It's having a bit of difficulty starting. Oh, the battery's gone now. God's sake. The battery's extremely low voltage. Spark plugs are fouled. That's interesting. Right, let's try again. So we want mixture in, crank. There we go. Go. This is all cranked. If you have a look over here, fuel pressure is in the green, oil temperature is still rising up, oil pressure is getting into the green now. There we go. Nice. So look on the outside. Lovely stuff. There you go, guys. That is a walkthrough of the Piper 180 Cherokee for Flight Simulator X. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a comment down below and subscribe, so it'd really help me a lot. Let me shut this thing down, and I will see you guys next time for another FSX video, hopefully.